I had not long given birth. My baby was 5 days old and I was laid up in bed, breastfeeding at the time actually. So my first reaction was, take the baby, take the baby.
Set thousands of years before the events of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, this series is based on author J.R.R. Tolkien's history of Middle-earth. It begins during a time of relative peace and covers all the major events of Middle-earth's Second Age, the forging of the Rings of Power. The series created quite a stir and is no surprise considering the praise that the original show got.
Morfydd, how was your audition?
Quite the opposite. It was long, very long, and spanned 3 countries. Started off in London, then went to LA and then finished off in Barcelona with Jay and all his crew.
Here at FilMonger, we enjoy providing bingeable content between blooper reels, interesting facts of films and TV shows, and behind the scenes. So let us know what other films or series we should do or what you would like to see. Until then, today we will be focusing on Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, a show based on the novel The Lord of the Rings.
Well, there's a lot of CGI here, but these sets are real. These sets are huge.
Yeah.
How does that change the way in which you work as an actor?
Well, immeasurably. Because you can touch the ground, you can pick stuff up, you know, it's all around you, it's alive. And so I was just so grateful that when you turn up on that first day that, here we are in a forest.
I didn't know, and through the process of auditioning, I started to learn more and more. But still, when I went to New Zealand, all I knew was that it was set in the Second Age, which is thousands of years before.
Even if you haven't managed to catch an episode of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, you're likely aware of the sheer scale of the production. It's the wonderful world of Tolkien combined with the terrifying behemoth that is Amazon. What else would you expect?
I was expecting there to be much more green screen actually, and much more special effect. But we had just such an incredible set department who really built as much as they could so that we could actually react off physical set.
So, BuzzFeed attended the Rings of Power panel at New York Comic-Con to get all the intel on how the series was made. We did want to provide a warning here as well, as there might be some spoilers for the first half of this season.
Remember that day giving the speech, you know, when you're doing speeches like that and they've got to film it many takes, many times. The first time you give the speech is the most impactful. Everybody's really sort of listening to you. Then the challenge is to try and give that speech 20 more times.
Scripts for the season finale were sent out with large portions redacted. The cast watched the first 3 episodes together, but are watching the others as they air, meaning that many of them don't know how the series ends.
Who reacted the most loudly with excitement and happiness?
I think mine was, well, I told my mum over text. She was quite excited over text. I think my housemate, though. My housemate was really excited.
Just to rewind, you told your mum over text?
Yeah. Yeah. God, I haven't said that before. There we go.
Cynthia Addai-Robinson, who plays Queen-Regent Míriel, explained, "We watched the first 3 episodes together, which I'm always going to cherish because there was such a build-up. We're fans of the show, we're fans of the stories, we're fans of each other, so you just get to see your friends really just embody these characters."
Yeah, it was really, the dedication of those people, honestly stunning.
But before we get into more of these moments, some trivia for you. Whose voice is the first we hear in the original Lord of the Rings? Leave your answer in the comments down below and stick around till the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct.
First of all, obviously in New Zealand, where you just can, anywhere you go, you can be inspired by the landscape. But then also, most of our sets were built, so we were actually there. And most of our monsters were also practical.
A new behind-the-scenes look at Amazon Prime's video, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, gives us a sense of why this is the most ambitious series the studio has ever produced, and arguably one of the most ambitious series of all time.
The Second Age is the great unfilmed story in Tolkien's entire legendarium, with the forging of the rings and the last alliance. And we felt that that was the story that deserved to be told.
A writer's room for the series had begun work in Santa Monica by mid-February 2019. Salk described extensive security measures that were being taken to keep details of this writing secret, including windows being taped closed and a security guard requiring fingerprint clearance from those entering the room.
Putting on the outfit or the costume gets you like 80% of the way there.
Sure.
Is that true for you?
In every aspect of this job in particular, the craftspeople, the army of craftspeople they've assembled really does elevate you.
In addition to Payne and McKay, writers on the series include Jennifer Hutchinson, Helen Shang, Jason Cahill, Justin Doble, and Brian Cogman. The writers' room was set to be disbanded once production of the series began, but would be reconvened during the 4 or 5 month break in filming that was scheduled following production on the first 2 episodes.
We knew we needed to slowly reveal pieces that would then build on top of each other, each one becoming bigger and more epic, and then eventually building a crescendo into the moment that Elendil's boat passes under the bridge. And then
the writers were expected to map out the second season and write the majority of its scripts during this production break. In recent weeks, the cast and producers have revealed some of the behind-the-scenes challenges that went into bringing the second age of Tolkien's Middle-earth to screens.
I was so happy, I was so excited, but I was on the train with all my friends on the way to school, and then I wasn't allowed to say anything, so I had to try and smile to myself and I looked like a psycho.
It was Jackson's understanding in December 2018 that the series would be set in the same continuity as the films, and Amazon wanted to be consistent with the designs that were created for them, which illustrator and concept artist John Hugh reiterated in August 2019, saying the showrunners were determined to remain faithful to the designs of the film trilogies.
Both of you eat snails, because those are some really big snails.
Yes, I did eat a lot of snails. But they were actually, it was like lollies. It was so sugary, and there was like this really sweet syrup that was on over them. And
were they made of chocolate?
No.
Oh no.
I wish they were.
Oh.
Payne and McKay later clarified that the series is not a direct continuation of the films, per Amazon's deal for the series, but they did not want it to clash with the films and tried to have similar designs. They took advantage of Hugh's experience working on Jackson's adaptations as well as that of costume designer Kate Hawley, who worked on the Hobbit films.
There's a scene where you're putting everyone
with the cadets.
Yeah, that was incredible. When they told me I was doing a 2-handed sword fight, I was like, good luck. But I had never been able to even write one letter with my left hand. How is this possible?
An interview with the cast gave us more insight as to what went on behind the scenes. Morfydd Clark, who plays Elven Commander Galadriel in the series, has said, "I feel the main character for me in Tolkien's work is Middle-earth itself. If we can't get that, then the characters will make sense and come from there."
Suspend my disbelief. And one of the only kind of bits of CGI monsters that I worked with was the ice troll. But that was Andy holding this giant troll mask, screaming and being really scary. So that was still he stepped into that role very well and made me quite frightened.
I really hope that then there will be something for everyone, because the main bit is being immersed in another land. Charles Edwards, who plays Celebrimbor, also said, "Obviously it will be compared with other current fantasy shows, and particularly the Peter Jackson movies.
A perspective in everything I do. Even in battles and action, you're telling a story. It's not just about explosions and fighting. So I always try to find a point of view, and from whose point of view I tell the story."
But the world is very different, and we've started out with some brand new characters. Some characters from Tolkien that have never been played before, or never featured in a live-action TV show. I think because it is a brand new thing, it's more exciting than worrying.
I read that a show was going to be made, and I thought that felt good, that felt right, because when you look at the monumental work that Tolkien did in the books.
But real quick, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page, linked down in the description. There's a ton of interview moments and memes, so make sure you check it out and give us a follow.
I would be able to do the stunts in that I wanted it to be strong enough and flexible enough that when my amazing stunt double Rosie Buttons got in to do it.
The title sequence of The Lord of the Rings of Power, was not a CGI creation, but rather achieved practically at a foundry using molten metals, reclaimed redwood, sparkler dust, argon pores, liquid hydrogen, and more. Multiple pours of molten metal were shot with the Phantom Flex 4K camera until the creators got the exact effect they were looking for. And as far as the answer to our trivia question, Gandalf, Ian McKellen, took over narration duties, actually recording a version of the prologue, but the producers still felt that this was the wrong character for the part. Finally, it was decided that Galadriel narrate the prologue, as this would emphasize the timelessness of the elves.
There were 2 battles actually in 6. There was the first one with the orcs, and then there's the Númenórean coming in and riding in. So once I sort of decide what the story, what characters I focus on in each battle, I do storyboards.
Aside from the behind-the-scenes moments, there have been known to be a lot of pranksters on the set. In an interview with 17, the cast reveals who the biggest prankster on set is.
I like to get down.
He likes to get down,
And
and he makes me want to get down. We would be singing something, and one of the hair and makeup artists was just like, "Oh, I've heard about this."
I was doing slightly different words for every single line. I was just like, oh, no.
So what do you guys think about all this? Have you watched this series and do you expect a season 2? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
I was quite good when I started unicycling, but then I gave it up. But I hold on to that. I was good once.
I have one that is embarrassing and one that is cool. I can throw down at the pottery wheel.